A very good afternoon and welcome to Africa Trade Brief. Today we're discussing digital assets. Well, what are they? They include digital currencies such as Bitcoin and non-fungible tokens. One of the most well-known digital assets is Bitcoin, invested in 2008. Let's run through a few more digital assets and briefly tell you what they are and what they're about. We'll bring up the first graphic there to take you through some of the digital assets. Firstly, there is Bitcoin, of course, that we know, Bitcoin Cash. Chasha Toji from Economy put together a list of assets. So there's something called Blocktex. It's an Ethereum-based counterfeit-resistant platform for distributing, advertising, and transferring ownership of event tickets. There's also something called Decentraland, a virtual reality platform powered by Ethereum blockchain. There's also something called Salt. It's a membership-based lending and borrowing network that allows users to leverage their blockchain assets to secure cash loans. And lastly, Viberate, which is a live music ecosystem and a blockchain-based marketplace that matches musicians with event organizers. So those are some of the new digital assets that are around. This list was made in around 2017. Let's go then to our second graphic. Forbes magazine says the African crypto market has grown by over 1,200% in terms of value received over the past year alone. They quote research firm Chain Analysis, which estimates that African countries collectively received over $100 billion worth of cryptocurrency between July 2020 and June 2021. However, Africa is still said to be the smallest crypto economy of all the regions. We're looking at the graphic now of the percentage of crypto value received by origin between July 2019 and June 2020. That's domestic versus foreign. So what is an NFT? An NFT is a non-fungible token, or better put by the BBC, NFTs are one-of-a-kind assets in the digital world that can be bought or sold. The digital tokens can be thought of as certificates of ownership for virtual or physical assets. A record of who owns what is stored on a shared ledger known as the blockchain. So Christie's sale of an NFT by digital artist for $69 million set a new record for digital art. And finally, how are Africans doing when it comes to the trade of digital assets? According to FinExtra, almost 1 in 3 Nigerians own or use digital assets, compared with a mere 6 out of 100 persons in the United States. Technex, though, says only 10 African countries are actively trading cryptocurrency, constituting a small percent of the total 54 countries on the continent. The bulk of crypto operations in Africa are conducted in Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Ghana, Cameroon, Zimbabwe, Ethiopia, Egypt, Botswana, and Uganda. Reasons for this include regulations, political unrest, internet shutdown, and it's been suggested that the younger population, the small younger population which is economically active, also contributes to that. Right, let's get more on these digital assets. Maurice Crespi, who's the CEO of Virtual Nation Builders, and Mmuso Ossum, who's a blockchain technology specialist, join me now. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News. Maurice, I'll start with you. Describe the crypto world and digital assets for us in the simplest possible terms.
Wow, okay. You get 2 types of tokens. You get fungible tokens, non-fungible tokens. Fungible tokens are your Bitcoins. If I trade a Bitcoin to you and you give me another Bitcoin back, it doesn't matter. Whereas one has NFTs. NFTs are tokens, but they are, imagine a centenary coin, one of its kind. That's what an NFT is. They're both on a decentralized network known as a blockchain, which means that the data is stored everywhere around the world. That's it in a nutshell.
All right. So then how does trade in crypto and virtual assets work? I know you've touched on it a little bit more, and give us more insight into the uptake on the African continent.
Okay, well, on the NFT trade side, maybe it'll be helpful to tell you what we're doing. We minted the very, very first NFT of its kind. We took, on behalf of Lily's Leaf Museum, Mandela's arrest warrant. We took the VNP team. It's a 1961 warrant. We had it scanned, professionally scanned, and we've tokenized it. And we've now put it on the blockchain, and it's going to be ready for sale to raise money for Lily's Leaf to save Lily's Leaf. So it's a good example of how an NFT can be used not only for trade, but to raise money for institutions such as Lily's Leaf. Now, you mentioned 69 million. We're hoping that our late Nelson Mandela will attract a figure greater than that. So just imagine if we're able to achieve that for an institution such as Lily's Leaf and thereafter for all heritage sites in South Africa.
All right, Mmuso, let's bring you into the conversation. Talk to us about the potential for economic trade and growth when it comes to these digital assets that we're speaking about.
Sure thing. And yeah, I'd like just to say hello to all the guests watching, viewers at home, and thank you so much to the SABC team for allowing us to speak about this profound project with virtual nation builders. And just to answer your question is that the potential for African adoption it's phenomenally huge, right? Because currently, we are in the greatest wealth transfer in human history, right? And I keep saying that unlike other transfers of wealth, right, this one is not exclusive to a certain demographic or a certain time in history or geographical location. Today, all you need is a smartphone and a connection to the internet, right? Because Satoshi Nakamoto has created a delicious feedback loop of interest, right? That sparked the notion of what NFTs are and the use cases that are continuously being developed. We as virtual nation builders, right? We are manufacturers of industries because at the moment it's very hard to predict the future, right? The complex nature of change means that it's impossible to predict the future. However, you can accordingly position yourself and build a network of professionals and people who want to empower the nation, want to empower the continent using distributed ledger technologies. I think art and web monetization is where the opportunity lies.
All right, so people have thought like you as well. Previously, there was this digital currency called the Afro that was meant to completely revolutionize the digital asset space. It hasn't taken off. Talk to us about credibility in this industry with so many people trying to scam, especially when it comes to Forex and digital assets, and also having to make people believe you because outside of potential, there is really nothing backing what's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, what I'll tell you is there's a little phrase within the cryptocurrency that is known as FUD, right? FUD stands for F-U-D, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And unfortunately, because of the scammers, because of these malicious bad actors who come into the crypto space and have identified the potential that's there, and what they've done is they've taken advantage of people. Now, what we have done, we've incorporated strong legal participation with the help of Maurice and Schindler's attorneys. And there is a strong, undeniable infrastructure that makes this NFT journey so legitimate, right? Because the genius behind crypto is that it grows and decentralizes everything in its path, right? It dissipates any concentration of power. Now, building wealth with NFTs, blockchain, and cryptocurrency is no longer an ideological apparatus, right? It's something where we can actually build a legacy for our children. And today, we can safely say that we've crossed the precipice, right? This Rubicon of making this a speculative industry to a legitimate global asset class.
All right, Maurice, let me bring you in as we wrap up. The Ndebele Kingdom set to launch cryptocurrency among the things that you're doing. Tell us more about that and using blockchain to address one of the ongoing challenges in South Africa, which is land.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that. What's really, really exciting is the notion of using an NFT for land rights. So what the king has done is he's mandated us to create a coin, a fungible coin known as the cowrie, but also to take the tribal land that's held in the tribal trusts and to segment that land into NFTs. And each NFT will have certain rights attached to it. Those NFTs can then be securitized by banks. And if we achieve that, the securitization of land through NFTs, it'll unlock that legacy value that hasn't been unlocked to date. So it's massive when it comes to land reform. We'll literally have NFTs that are traded instantly outside of the deeds office, and those rights can be transferred. And we've already met with banks. The credit terms obviously have to be agreeable to banks, but once they've agreed to them, it should be smooth sailing. So we're very, very excited about that aspect of the project.
Maurice Crespi, CEO of Virtual Nation Builders, and Mmuso Ossum, who's a blockchain technology specialist, joining me now. Thanks so much for your time on Africa Trade Brief today.